And welcome back, everyone. Joining us now is Cale Leiviska. Cale, your freshman season in the MP40 division was last year, and immediately you came out of the gates, that fresh young face that you somehow keep having year after year.
Yeah.
And you go into a playoff with Philo at the first major, and then you come up just barely short at the World Championships. Reflect on both of those events for us from last year.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up some salty memories. I appreciate that. I'm trying to enjoy myself this week, but no, I'm just kidding. I was just telling the people I'm traveling with how I lost both the majors last year by one stroke. I have, being an MPO for so long, kind of, thinking like someday maybe playing MP40 and not thinking it's going to be like a cakewalk or anything, but, just being reminded and humbled right away that, every tournament that you play is going to be super hard to win. Everyone's so good. The Oregon one with Philo, I remember him and I were just battling the whole time. He was playing great, just like Philo of old, hitting huge putts in the wind, just pretty much unstoppable in the wind. And I remember being able to chase him down that final round, tie it up with like 2 to play, and then losing in one playoff hole, just throwing a terrible shot, not really giving myself a putt, and I just remember being in the woods, just heartbroken from that one. And then, to play up at Elevation in Flagstaff for the World Championships against Rovere. Kind of the same thing. Him and I were neck and neck the whole time. It's a long tournament. I don't honestly think either of us were more than like 2 or 3 strokes apart the whole time. So we just kind of, were comfortable in the battle, and again, came down to the wire. He had me by a couple strokes with, 5 or 6 to play, and I just wasn't able to get him back. And so, yeah, to lose them both by a stroke combined was definitely tough, but, just very grateful to still be playing at a high level after all these years. And I feel like I can do this for a lot longer, and excited for a fresh start this week.
Well, and speaking to that, you're talking about you and Joe being so close last year. You birdied the last 3 holes of the World Championships. He parred the last hole, but that was just enough to keep ahead of you by 1. So we're looking forward to more of those battles. But let's backtrack less than 24 hours ago. You battled. You took down an A tier in MPO. You're here playing MP40, of course, but you take down an A tier in MPO, and then you put on your socials that you just found out you tied the great Ken Climo for a 19th consecutive season winning an Open A tier.
Isn't that wild?
You tell us, how wild is that? I got goosebumps.
It's unbelievable.
Just
like
that.
I still remember, like when I started playing in high school, my buddy Darren looked, barely even had internet back then, looked it up and found out that this guy Ken Climo, who was like the 10-time world champion at that point. So we all were just like, I didn't even say his name right. I still remember calling him Ken Climo. But to be able to say that, I mean, I can't even believe I've been playing for 19 years, and to have won an A tier in every one of those seasons, it's unbelievable. It's it makes me think back about a lot of fond memories. But to be able to get this one last week, or yesterday, my buddy Jake and I drove down a little bit early because I wanted to make sure that my hand was going to be okay for this week. I wanted to get some tournament reps because I haven't been playing very much. And after the first round, I was like, all right, I can do this, no problem. It was a 4-round tournament, and came down to the wire with Levi Hancock and was able to kind of pull away at the end. But I really, having the option to play MPO and MP40 week to week is kind of fun. We were just talking about, I think, I want to play like more MPO events than MP40 for at least the next few years. But hopefully, next year would be the 20th year to break the record. So I'd like to do it someplace special. So we were talking about maybe like going up to Alaska or someplace cool for an A tier to try to do it there. But yeah, pretty unbelievable.
Well, I know a future guest and another world champ likes to win A tiers up in Alaska. We'll talk to him in a little while. But anyway, let's focus on the hand as we see Eric McCabe just off screen. Focusing on the hand, you posted last week already that you did something. Tell everyone what it was, and then more importantly, how much is going to impact you. It didn't seem to hold you back this last week for the win.
Speaking of EMAC, he knows course design can be a little dangerous sometimes. I was not playing. I was designing a course up in northern Minnesota. We had gotten some rain that morning, and I was kind of walking down a little hill, there was a log that I stepped on, just my feet slipped out from under me, which has happened 100 times. Didn't think anything of it. I fell and put my left hand down, and just happened to be a super sharp rock. And right away, I just could tell something was not right. I looked down, and there's just, I could see all the way to my skeleton. I was about a quarter mile from my car by myself, up in the deep north woods of Minnesota. So I sprinted back to my car as I'm bleeding pretty heavily. Kind of was like balling up a fist to try to stop the bleeding. And I drove, 10 miles. Luckily, there's an ER pretty close, relatively close up there, and had to get all stitched up. But I luckily didn't rupture any tendons in the hand, so I didn't have to get hand surgery or anything. But pretty gnarly cut. Definitely feel it when I try to throw really hard and follow through. Pretty tough. But as long as I kind of keep the hand to the body, I don't feel it at all. So the only thing is I brought a cart this week because I just don't want to be picking up my bag and stuff. But after playing 4 rounds the last few days, I'll be just totally fine for sure.
All right. Well, I think myself, like every disc golfer on the planet, when we saw the post, immediately had a brief sigh of relief. Like, well, that's not his throwing hand.
Once people saw the ring on the finger,
yeah. We wish you a speedy recovery, but not being the throwing hand, certainly a key component of that. One other thing I want to talk about that you just said is course design and really the business outside of playing. Playing is not your primary focus as much as you do go out and compete. It's not your primary focus within disc golf. So I'll go to one specific. You got rid of the preserve in terms of what you were doing there, but then you turned around and picked up another course. Yeah. What are you doing? Do you ever rest?
No, I'm kind of a glutton for punishment apparently. But playing definitely is like still what I think about the most. Like that is what I focus on the most, what's most important to me. But with the different business stuff, the preserve, we were having a baby last year, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to dedicate the amount of time that's required for that place. It's just so huge, so much goes into it. So I was able to sell out of that place, and then kind of had this opportunity fall in our lap for the old Vision Quest course. So my partner Odie and I decided we're going to take it on, and he kind of manages the place. But it's been fun kind of reviving that spot. And it's 40 acres compared to 160, so it's still a lot of land, but it's kind of easy, honestly, compared to the preserve and what goes into that. So hopefully for the rest of my life I'll have some private course I'm able to put some energy into because I just love it.
All of that in addition to having an infant at home, as you're just saying, incredible the energy and effort you put into disc golf. We saw last year, you just mentioned Philo. Talked about Joe Revere, who you battled with. You've got the likes of Emac. You've got Dave Felberg. You've got so many people that
Paul Oman, turning 40 in a few weeks.
Exactly, who I know you're good friends with. These might be rivalries for the next 10 years. I mean, you guys have battled an MPO.
Yeah, I don't like any of these guys at all.
Is it going to be any different here with these rivalries? And are they good for the division?
I think they're absolutely good for the division. I mean, I just, like when I started playing, I looked up to Felberg. He taught me so much, to be battling with him again. It's so fun. Emac and I, we've played so many countless times over the years when I started playing disc golf, and, to play with these world champions and to see what it's going to look like in 5-6 years as more of these 30-year-olds turn masters age. I think it's going to be pretty fun. I think the MP40 division. I hope I'm still playing in the MP40 division when I'm 50, because there's going to be a lot of good players. I think the rivalries will definitely create some good storylines.
You're one of the few people we'll talk to today that doesn't yet have a world title. Anything you want to say to the camera right now about that?
I would really like one of those. That'd be nice. I won a Masters World Doubles title last year, but doesn't mean anything. Sorry, Felberg. It would mean a lot. I'm going for it. Next year, I'm going to try to get it now, but next year we do have Worlds in Minnesota too. So hopefully I'll be going for my second at that time.
All right, everyone. That's the busiest man in disc golf, Cale Leiviska. We wish you the best of luck this week.
Busiest man besides Terry. Thanks, y'all.